our main topic for our episode 50 extravaganza, that's not that extravagant, but whatever, is we're going to talk about our top 10 games of all time, gentlemen.
Whoa.
And we are not cowards here, right? Are you a coward?
I'm not a freaking coward.
Jeff, are you a coward?
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, we like to at least put out the presence of not being cowards, so we are going to rank them. We are ranking our top 10 games
The significance.
of all time. And I'm pretty excited about it.
Yes.
You guys.
So my number one.
Yeah, so the way we decided at least to do this earlier is we got a bunch of honorable mentions, and to be honest, I made a top 20 because I had a lot of honorable mentions.
Because of course, Jeff.
Yeah. So we're going to go through the honorable mentions / stuff not in the top 10, like where he's going to take turns to go through all those.
And we're not, yeah.
And then, we're going to go one by one. So after we get to the top 10, so 10, 10, 10.
To build up
9,
to those ones. So, Jeff, why don't you start us with your honorable
name
mentions.
So my 11 through 20.
Yep.
So, I mean, Jeff, actually, you're the least cowardly of us all because you ranked all 20. My honorable mentions are not ranked, so...
Yeah. So number 20, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Hell yes.
Number 19, Tearaway Unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
Number 18, Banjo-Kazooie. Number 17, Infamous 2.
Okay.
Number 16, Super Mario 64. 15, Tales of Xillia 2. Number 14, Pokemon Soul Silver. 13, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. 12, Super Mario Galaxy. And number 11, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn.
Oh, nice.
It's not bad.
All those make sense. Some of those are lower than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, wait till we get to my.
But I'm sure, some of mine were also I couldn't believe.
No. Some of them thought they were going to be higher, and then I listed all of them out. I'm like,
there's some games I couldn't believe are not in my top 10, but
yeah.
So yeah,
these are very personal rankings.
I saved my honorable mention almost for ones that, for games that I, are nostalgic or that I just played a ton of, but I wouldn't consider them, my favorite game. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So anyway, my honorable mentions.
Go ahead and do this.
So I have Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Most people would have Melee, but I have Brawl. Spider-Man 2, the movie, the game.
Did love that game.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Tony Hawk's Underground.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
The Walking Dead Season 1.
Okay.
Mario Kart Double Dash.
Nice.
And Life is Strange.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad Life is Strange is that high in yours.
I love that game.
That's awesome. Okay, my honorable mentions, I could go on for 20 different games with them, but what I have is Final Fantasy 12,
Nice.
Super Mario Odyssey,
Nice.
Super Mario 64,
Nice.
Fallout 3,
Nice.
Fallout New Vegas,
Nice.
Uncharted 2,
Nice.
Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
and Tales of Xillia 2.
Nice.
Those are my honorable
We-
mentions. I forgot.
Yeah,
to put
we
those-
seriously those?
those
Nice.
on there. Yeah.
Two
I mean,
Fallouts there.
we are pretty similar in our thing.
You didn't want to give Fallout a bone? Put it in your top
Almost
10?
every single other time I've done my top 10s, both of the Fallouts have been in there, but it's
Really?
just, I guess I'm changing as a person. It's just...
I think my number one's
Aren't we all?
might be surprising. I might have to explain myself. We'll see.
All right, Jeff, start
lead
us
it
out.
off.
Number
with
10.
Number 10.
My number 10, Tales of Vesperia.
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking about that.
Yep. Okay. So the reason I put this as I guess my top 10, and I guess put it over Xillia is it's one of my favorite, obviously, JRPGs of all time.
Yeah.
As far as JRPG goes, especially for Tales games goes, it has one of the best cast of characters.
I agree.
Yep. And Mr. Troy Baker voicing the main character is always nice.
Classic.
Of course.
Yes.
And that was before Troy Baker was the
Joker.
Troy Baker. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the battle system may not, as a whole, be my favorite in Tales games, but it is very solid.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing, I think the difficulty curves pretty well, especially for a Tales game, at least from what I remember playing. And just general mechanics and just in general for Tales is the most solid and some of the best. Again, like I said, best Tales game overall.
Yeah.
And what helps Tales games in general for me, part of Tales of Xillia 2 is in my how 20 General, I'm sure it's the same for Darby, is the fact you can play those co-op or 2-player.
Which
and
that was
just
such
added
an
to it.
awesome experience,
Yeah.
like playing Zillia with you, and I'm sure you played that with your sister, with Vesperia.
And you even came in for a little bit of
Yeah,
it.
and like even just like popping in the middle of that game, I was already getting like wrapped up in the story. I feel like it's so easy to just fall into that. Those characters.
For
are just really
Vesperia, me and my sister played the whole thing together, but Darby popped in the very middle of the game for like, I want to say like 10 hours.
a
5 to 10
good
hours.
chunk of it. Yeah, I mean these games are long. But
Yeah. So
That's
good.
funny.
And like, yeah, I literally popped in, didn't know what the hell was going on, but by the end of it, I actually cared about the characters. So I'm like, oh,
That's
that's
really
actually
This is
really
honestly
good.
one that I kind of kept on forgetting about. That I suddenly remembered it like earlier. I think today I was like, "What am I doing? This is top 10."
I had that with a few of them too.
Yeah.
All right, Will.
My
You're
number 10.
10.
My number 10 is a little generic, but I played this game for so long, have so many memories with it. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, heck yeah. Yep.
I mean, it might not be the game that got me into like really playing a whole bunch of games, but it was one of the things that made gaming more of a social thing, I suppose, where I was just always playing with friends. So, really good memories with Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember just at school, you go to everyone was playing that
yeah.
game. There was not anyone that played games that wasn't playing.
Like party
Suddenly.
chat every night with several people you didn't actually know in real life.
Yeah, and it's like easy to like kind of like make fun of Call of Duty now, just that it's a yearly thing that's just been kind of gone in ups and downs and everything. But back then, it really was something like special. Like it was like the perfected first-person shooter like that, and just playing like multiplayer like that. I don't think there had been a game before that had that much of a just community. Or just you do that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what you do. Yeah,
those.
awesome.
I mean, the whole, at least Modern Warfare 2, and I guess Black Ops was right after that.
Yeah.
Those 3 games are really good.
Solid,
And,
very
like,
solid games. Yeah,
So.
I agree with that. Okay, scrolling up. My number 10 is a game we've talked about earlier today, BioShock Infinite.
Nice.
I loved, and I know this would be a controversial pick for a lot of BioShock things, especially since the original BioShock was not.
Original BioShock better be number 1, damn it.
What a bro. He's a Bioshock bro.
I know.
I only played Infinite.
Yeah, spoilers. This is the only BioShock on my list. I just love the experience of BioShock. Maybe it's because like I didn't play the original BioShock until a little bit later, so that's probably definitely has something to do with it. But just Infinite, just especially that time when it came out, like right around The Last of Us and everything, and you just go in there. And I was already just loved the setting so much, but I didn't know much about the story going in. And you're immediately like Troy Baker. I think that might be my favorite character that Troy has ever played, just because Booker is really kind of just not a good dude, but Troy just played it so well. And just the relationship between him and Elizabeth and just everything, just Columbia as a world, and just slowly watching, like, figuring out, like, what the hell is going on with this story was so cool to me. And I feel like some people, like, the pacing was just amazing all the way through. I really like the more action-y combat versus the horror-ish combat, like, horror-ish gameplay in the first one, which is crazy to most people. But overall, it's just, I don't know, that story just wraps you in. And the ending, I like literally, that was one of the games where like I finished it and I immediately went back and loaded the final mission again because I had to see it again. I was like, wait, what?
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I just had a thought, Darby. This is for BioShock, not necessarily Infinite. BioShock in VR. Imagine they did like original BioShock in VR.
That'd be terrifying.
It'd be great.
It would be great. It would
I
be
need the players that give us
horrifying.
something more.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I also remember thought of something when you mentioned Troy Baker. Playing Knight as a nice guy. That seems to be a trend with Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Vesperia.
Yeah.
A game I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Joel is
Yeah.
not really a good dude.
Yeah.
It's a lot of maybe subliminal. Maybe Troy.
Sam.
He's Joker.
Troy's a great dude. All right, Jeff. What's your number 9?
Number 9, Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. Now, I know what people are thinking.
That should be an honorable mention too. Again, it could go on for so long, but
Yeah.
could carry on.
Now, I know what people are thinking. You put Majora's Mask over Ocarina of Time? Yes, I did.
What?
I know Ocarina of Time is the biggest, more inspirational, I guess, in the gaming
Yes.
world and everything, but especially when I originally played Majora's Mask as a kid, just using all the different masks and everything was so much fun. And even when I replayed Majora's Mask on the 3DS version a couple years ago when that came out, realized like part of me was wondering, okay, is this nostalgia or is it just this game? It's this game just because you know, everyone knows or should know Majora's Mask thing. You had 3 days to stop the moon from falling, pretty much, and then once 3 days go, you like rewind time and all that stuff or whatever, so you can do stuff and figuring out the schedule and everything for all the people in town, and just a lot of fun and using all the maps to figure out like what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to unlock things and what's the best course to do.
Yeah,
and Majora's Mask has one of my favorite like worlds in video games.
Yeah,
just with the townspeople and everything, how you interact with them,
and just the tonal shift from Ocarina was just really cool. And just like I feel like that game's so much of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, it's
That I kind of like how, and also in the 3DS version, they had a little thing to help you remember timeline stuff, like what everyone does. Made that easier. Yeah. That helps.
Such a cool idea.
So good.
So good.
Majora's Mask 2, please.
Yes, I would.
Or something more heavily inspired by.
I mean, like
Majora's
people
Mask.
floated like, what if they just take the Breath of the Wild engine and stuff and make a creative
Majora's Mask-esque thing.
I mean, cause that's basically what happened with Majora's Mask. Is they took Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, it came out like a year later.
Yeah, and like just basically did something different with it.
So good.
Interesting. Never played a Zelda.
Not a single one ever.
I don't know if y'all knew that, but yeah.
Get out of here.
I know, right?
I mean, they are legitimately good games. It's not just a bunch of hot air. They're actually legitimately really good games.
I am surprised I didn't play like Twilight Princess or something because I had a Wii.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people played Twilight. I like Twilight Princess quite a bit.
Top selling Zelda game, I think.
Really?
I believe it. The Wii, there was a lot of Wiis, and that was the
and it was on GameCube as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was cross-gen. So Breath of the Wild might beat it.
Yep. All right, what's your number now?
Number 9. This is kind of weird, actually. You all know me as a Splinter Cell fan.
I do.
But I put Splinter Cell Conviction as my number 9. And that's not really much of a Splinter Cell game, weirdly enough. It's very actiony, a lot less stealth. But looking back on it, it's just an incredible action game. It is really good to play. I don't know have y'all ever seen gameplay or anything?
I don't think so.
Man.
Or maybe
I probably have, but didn't know it was Splinter Cell.
Yeah, maybe I didn't know which one it was. But most of the Splinter Cell stuff I've seen has been like stealth stuff.
Yeah, no. This one, it changes a whole lot. Basically, Sam Fisher, the main guy, he goes rogue. And he doesn't have like the night vision goggles for a long time in the game. And he just is after these people that basically killed his daughter. And it's just like, it's like Taken.
I was about to say, it's
like,
Taken?
It's amazing.
Is he Liam Neeson?
Basically. It is so good, though.
Now, is it as crazy as like from Stealth Tactics thing as like Metal Gear Solid stuff to Metal Gear Rising?
No. You still have to hide.
He doesn't have swords in his feet.
I wish. But do you all remember it's not as big of a deal now, but like the mark and execute feature that was pretty common in the mid 2000s, I guess. That was Conviction actually did that. So you would like mark your enemies, and then once you had enough points or whatever, you could execute all of them in one like cinematic move. It was awesome. It's a very good game.
Yeah, cool. Okay, my number 9 is Skyrim. Skyrim, I still stand by, like, it's obviously not my favorite game of all time. It's number 9 right here. But while like Skyrim itself might not be my favorite game of all time, I think playing it for the first time was probably like one of, if not my favorite gaming memory of all time. And I feel like just like Skyrim usually, for how much me and all my friends hyped up Skyrim for like a full year, if not 2 years
2011,
before.
what a
literally
time.
just like you're sitting at the lunch table and we just talk about Skyrim every single day forever and ever and ever. Even when there was nothing new to talk about, we're just talking about Skyrim. So that game should have been underwhelming to me. Like, there's no way that game never should have lived up to the hype. But playing it that first night, I remember I just basically played it from like until the sunrise, and it was everything I wanted it to be, which is insane to me. And especially at that time, just I had not played that many open world games that were that open, and I remember thinking that the graphics looked so good and realistic, which is laughable now. But at the time, that game was just incredible. You felt like you could go any direction, do anything you wanted, kill this person who like, and all these quests fail. It was just like the game let you do anything you wanted to do, and just talking about that game as we were playing it, there was nothing better than that. So
I just tried messing
Cool.
around more with it in VR.
Yeah,
I remember my first time playing Skyrim. I got motion sick. Very few. That's probably different.
Yeah, I never played Skyrim either. Weird.
no.
That was like my experience with Call of Duty though. It was my friend group just talking about that all the time.
It was just like nonstop, and it was. I mean, that was for like a very long time. Skyrim was the game I played. Like I played video games, but I really only played Skyrim. Like that was the only thing I played for like a year, because like you could, and I still didn't do everything because there's just so much to do in that game. So yeah, love it. Love Skyrim, always will.
Okay, so my number 8, Kid Icarus Uprising.
Okay. I will abstain.
The Wii U's?
No, it's the 3DS one.
Oh, okay.
Best handheld game of all time.
Oh, he's putting it out there.
Wait,
At least my favorite.
Are we counting like Switch games?
I'm not counting that. Okay, let me put it this way. Handheld exclusive.
It's a handheld exclusive game.
Put that little thing on there.
Okay.
I guess technically I got one later that was ported to 3DS, but whatever. It's just so good, man.
Carry on. Don't let me hold you back.
What is side scrolling? What is this? What is this game?
Like a 3D action game. Go around, beat up some baddies. Very fun story. The characters are fantastic. Like probably one of my favorite casts in video games, which is weird to think about. Like I didn't expect that from a Kid Icarus game.
Yeah.
And makes me want Sakurai, who does the Smash Bros. Game. Wish he made more non-Smash games.
I mean, just the fact that even like Hades is such an awesome character. It's just like characters that didn't need to be.
Yeah,
awesome.
and even
like,
the side characters,
funny.
like ones that are just bosses for a single stage are memorable and great. And a couple of those got assist trophies of Smash Bros.
Yeah.
And the designs are great. I know Darby has his.
Yeah, the only thing I'm doing all this is just the controls are like so freaking difficult, and like
I had no problem.
People
with them.
either love it or hate it. I hate it, but he loves it. Okay. I mean, it's just how this
obviously
works.
Yes. Correct. Oh yeah, just the action was so satisfying, and the great use of the variety of weapons was great, and I really liked the way they did the difficulty for each level, which added replayability. So go back. They had a little scale thing where you put gold on there, and the more gold you put on there, the more difficult it is. So the more you did, more difficult you made, the better the rewards.
Interesting. That's cool.
And they carried it over to Smash Bros.
That's the same thing in Smash Bros. Yeah.
Man, if it works, might as well use it.
Yep.
So yeah,
nice.
Cool. All right. What is your number 8? Is that where we're at? Yeah. 8.
This is gonna be surprising, I think, for most people. But
rabbits.
It might be correct. You nailed it.
Knack 2.
I swear, all our number ones are Knack.
Knack is just my top 5.
Okay. And just KFC in general is my number 2.
My
number 1 is the system settings on the PS Vita.
Sorry, well,
PS3 home screen dashboard. The Last of Us. My number 8.
Oh, wow.
Which is a little,
that is pretty low.
For most people. It very well could be because I haven't played it since 2014, I guess. But
me and Dory played it like right after it came out. So
I played it twice in 2013. I haven't played it since. Yeah.
I mean, I do not think that anything that is said about the game is hyperbolic at all.
Right.
But I don't think it's one of my personal, obviously, like top 5 games.
Hey, this is a very personal thing. I mean, there are games on here where I feel like some of the games below it are better games than the ones above it, but that's not what this list is.
No. And I can totally agree with that for a lot of these. So, yeah, Last of Us, great game. Number 8 for me.
Yeah.
I mean, well, just think. I put Super Mario Galaxy under Kid Icarus Uprising. So
that's
very personal stuff.
Very personal.
Yeah. My number 8, kind of in the similar vein of Skyrim, is Fable 2.
Interesting.
This was, like, even long before Skyrim, this was one of the games that, like, me and my sister really bonded a lot over playing this, because it's, I mean, like, I don't know if you know much about Fable, but it's, like, very, very, like, fairy tale fantasy-esque looking, which I usually don't like that kind of stuff. But it has such an awesome sense of humor. Like, it makes fun of itself all the time.
I played a touch of Fable 3, and I remember thinking, like, the self-awareness was interesting.
That British humor.
The British humor is so great. Like, everything from, like, every little item you pick up has this, like, hilarious description on it. It's really funny. But that was another game where I felt like you could just do whatever you wanted with that. Obviously, you could be good or evil. Mm-hmm. You could have a family. You could, like, have several different families in different cities that don't know about each other. You can do like anything you wanted in there. Yes. And it was just like, I don't know, that game just has so much heart, so much charm, and it was one of those just, it's kind of like comfort food in a way. Like, it's one of those games I would definitely, every few years, I want to go back to and play. So I'm so excited that we're getting more Fable.
Will we get it? Will we hear about it at E3 Darby?
Probably not. I feel like it's maybe a little further away, but maybe that would be a great Xbox like reveal.
Ooh, I just realized, what if that was on Game Pass? That'd be great.
Oh, jeez.
I might use Game Pass to try that out.
Again, I will be borrowing your Xbox if you let me. If Fable happens, if not, I will run it on my laptop and hope for the best.
No, you can borrow it on Xbox One.
Yeah.
Fable 2 is one of my favorite covers on a video game.
It's a really good cover with with the demon person at the bottom and everything.
It's always stood out to me.
I don't know. I can't the Fable games really have a special place in my heart for gaming. Yeah, good games.
Okay, so yes, my number 7, Dragon Quest VIII.
New Dragon Quest is coming somewhere.
Yep, of course.
Which one is this? What are they on now?
PS2 is where it's originally from. And it was ported last year to the 3DS.
Which one is coming out? Or has
11.
Okay.
This is, before this one, the last, like, regular single-player, like, console one. Because a lot of them have been, like, I think 10 was an MMO, and then 9, I think, was handheld only.
Gotcha. Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one I watched Jeff play. Like a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty young.
Yep, this is one of those games. Look back as far as like me playing JRPGs, I really loved the whole turn-based aspect. I mean, that was the most original thing, obviously, but it was great. Another case of great cast of characters, which at this, notice a trend probably like with my top JRPGs, like great cast that really stand up art.
Lives and dies by those characters. Yeah.
Yep. And music's of course great, character design's great. It's been a while, but I enjoyed the story. It was kind of like pretty much generic RPG stuff, but I've done very well. Yeah. Akira Toriyama doing art. Obviously, I love that.
The art's Dragon Ball. Yeah, beautiful.
And I am so excited for Dragon Quest 11. And I realize we'll get more to it later. I realized at least 3 of my top 10 have sequels supposed to be coming out this year.
Nice.
So let's see if they get replaced.
Wow.
All right, number 7, Will.
Number 7. Let's see. What did I put above The Last of Us? Halo Reach. That's what I put
Get out
above.
of here.
Yeah. Again, it's a very similar vein to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but Halo Reach actually, to me, has the best Halo story, which I know people will not agree with that.
I think I do agree. I really loved the different characters, like in the team or whatever.
I thought it was just a really well done, like pretty sad story for this like massive commercial franchise. You know, you don't get usually something like that. So I mean, all the characters are just dead by the end of the series, or by the end of the game.
Spoilers. But
so I don't know.
I'm gonna play it next week.
Dang it. So I mean, the single player campaign I thought was incredible, and it's definitely. It was during the same period as Modern Warfare 2 for me, where I was just playing a ton of online multiplayer with friends, and we used to play in Forge World, make our own maps and stuff all the time.
It's so much fun.
It was so good.
You lose so many hours just doing that.
And it was just one of those things where I guess I was still a little too young to be involved in that with Halo 3, but Halo Reach was just at the right time. So
the ending of Reach hits you.
Gosh, yeah.
And I feel like Reach made more than any of the Halo games. I always liked the Halo story, but the Reach made me care about it more because it kind of goes back and shows you, and it's it kind of connects at the end. And it's the Halo world is actually pretty huge and rich, and I feel like Reach.
You weren't just like a gun-toting superhero Master Chief. Your friends die. Yep.
Alrighty, my number 7. Super Smash Bros. for the Wii U and the whatever, that one.
Yeah.
4, right? It's unofficial 4, Super Smash Bros. 4, after Brawl, whatever. I mean, it's Smash Bros.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a weird one. You could fill in Smash Bros. It's kind of all of them.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was curious about.
I'm basically I think they've gotten better with every single one of them, honestly. So I'm going to pick the most recent one. And this is the one that freaking had the best cast of characters of any fighting game of all time, period.
Yes.
Like, end of story, full stop.
What
Cloud,
were the extras?
Like Cloud,
Pac-Man?
Ryu, Pac-Man,
Mega Man,
Yeah.
Bayonetta.
That freaking dog, man.
Duck Hunt. Like, what?
It would have been cool if they had like Snake and Master Chief in there.
I mean, Snake was in Brawl.
Snake was in Brawl, yeah. I mean,
Or just
come
like
back.
Drake or someone. Like, yeah, it's just...
so I mean, that's why specifically why it's this one is just, yeah, like, these characters coming out in the moments of, like, Cloud announced for Smash Bros. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
All these, and just the hours that we spent on your Wii U
Yeah.
version of that. Like, literally hundreds of hours just playing nothing but Smash.
And as far as, like, we go, yeah, we're not the big competitive people, so I guess partly why I guess Melee's not our favorite. We care more about the playing with friends, so all the characters and stuff.
I actually
and all
don't like if I was gonna, like, you can play Smash Bros. I don't want to play Melee just because like, again, I guess I'm not that deep into the like mechanics of everything.
That's true.
I think I want to play the one that has the best stages and the best characters and the best,
more options to do stuff.
Yeah.
Give me all that.
Yeah, I mean, and Smash Bros will always just go down. It's weird. Like, my list doesn't not really have multiplayer games on it because it's weird. I almost think of them in two different classes.
Yeah,
because most of these games I'm thinking more about the story and the experience of playing it by myself. But you cannot, Smash Bros cannot be understated with just.
yeah. That's why I put PlayStation All Stars, and that's why my number 6 is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Are we on? Okay,
yeah, that was my next one. So might as well bring that up now.
Crush it.
Go for it.
I mean, like Darby said, the best cast characters for a fighting game ever. Anyone who tries to contest it is lying to themselves.
I agree. Oh, yeah.
Unless it's Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. That's the best cast.
Get that.
We all know it.
Just go play Injustice, Will. Just please. Just go.
The Mortal Kombat one's better.
If you like spamming flashes, run back and forth move.
God.
Oh, man.
Terrible memories. Anyway.
Yeah, so pretty much what Darby said. I like the most recent one usually the most. We'll see if that trend continues because we have fears of the character roster having some
I feel like this
cuts.
is the first real chance for that not to be the case.
Yeah, because Cloud, for instance,
we're losing
is not a guarantee.
Honestly, that's going to be a big mark against that. I mean, it's
No, before we judge it completely as far as character roster goes, go wait to see how DLC goes, Darby.
yes,
Because that's how we got Cloud and Ryu
it is.
and Bayonetta.
But just the sheer amount of nights that we spent just all of our friend group playing Smash.
Mm-hmm. And talking about it.
So
And we got our freaking Smash podcast now that someone hasn't put up.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
School's rough. Get off. Sorry.
I still need to get my Wii U back so we can play that stuff. And
What's your number 6, Will?
Number 6. Batman. Arkham Knight.
Nice.
I was hoping you were going to say Origins.
And just flip off the camera,
The best Batman
flip the
Arkham.
table, walk out the room.
No, there are admittedly nights about the closer you can get to it without saying Origins.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's one of those things where I guess I actually feel the same way. So Arkham Asylum has that very, intense claustrophobic feel that I think is classic, and I do love that game. City broadened it out, introduced, obviously the city landscape a little more. But I think even though people hate the Batmobile, and I disliked it to a degree, I think Arkham Knight was the definitive version of playing as Batman. Like going around the city, grappling up. There's so many different villains in there. You have your entire, Bat family of characters, Robin, Nightwing. You can play as them. You can play with them. I don't know. I think it's an incredible game. First game I platinumed. I liked it so much. But yeah, it's a newer one, but I really like it. Did y'all play that? I assume you did.
I did not play Night. I played City and Asylum. I think, City barely missed my list, honestly.
Okay.
Night, even though I think that came out in 2015, Night has, I think, still maybe the best graphics I've seen in a game. It's like that Uncharted and Horizon, probably. It's Good.
Remembering the Batman games makes me more excited for Spider-Man because obviously they're taking kind of inspiration from that as far as being a big open world and having villains everywhere.
Yeah.
Was there a reason you didn't play Knight?
It was a lot of them. It was a good bit of it was a timing thing. I actually have it now. When it went on a flash sale like late last year, I got it for like $5 or something.
You need to play it.
So
man.
I have it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I want to.
All right, my number 6, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. God, I love that.
Honorable mention for you?
It was my number 11.
There was definitely a time when me and Jeff were kids, this was the game we were playing. Because it was definitely, there was a time where we played Smash Bros. And we obviously knew a lot of characters, but we literally, because we like video games. And that was kind of when I think we stopped liking video games for a while at some point or whatever. But we were just there. And we were literally like, hey, we like playing Ike. What game is he from? Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Hey, we should just... Hey, there's one coming out right here for Wii.
Or it was already out for the Wii.
Yeah, it was already out for the Wii, so we can just go to GameStop and get that. And we literally did that with a lot of them. We were like, oh, which Smash Bros. Characters do we not know? All right, let's try their games.
Yeah.
I did that with Metroid games, too. It was like, let me try some of those. Love Metroid games. But we did that with Fire Emblem, and so we really didn't know anything about Fire Emblem. We just bought it because of Ike, basically. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but the way that they did the grid combat thing or whatever, it was something I had never played before and immediately just fell in love, where you feel like this battle commander moving the troops around, and it's Radiant Dawn is brutally hard, especially when you're a kid. It's really, really freaking hard, but it's always because your strategy is not good enough. You need to improve what you're doing and finding a way, when you finally get through this level or whatever, but someone died, you have to, do I really care about them? Because, it's permadeath.
Yeah.
So it definitely, lots of, restarting the game to not lose people. And, there's certain, you'll, start out, if you, start out with a character and they'll be bad at first, some of those, by the end of the game, they're amazing. So it's you're rewarded for sticking with some of the bad troops and everything.
And I was going to go off on that. A lot of stuff Darby's saying is definitely more of that for Radiant Dawn than the newer Fire Emblems. That whole thing that you just said about people getting better, other than Donald or whatever from Awakening, that's his whole point.
That's the obvious thing.
Yeah. The other games, in my opinion, don't have that nearly as much or done it as well. From as much as I love Awakening and obviously enjoy my time with Fates, Radiant Dawn just so much better in every single way. The story, the characters, the designs. Yeah.
The story, I mean, because the big thing about Fire Emblem is the gameplay is amazing and the journey you go on with these characters are amazing, but it makes it so much better because every single one of these characters are a fleshed out character that has this whole arc and these whole depending on how you pair them with other people and what you do, they'll have these relationships that build over time. And some of these people that I stuck with, by the time they're really good at combat, you've also seen them go through this whole story. And there's 100 characters or something like that, and they're all fleshed out like that, which is really crazy. The sheer amount of writing that had to go into that game is wild.
Also, what I really liked about that maybe some other older Fire Emblem games did, but the more recent one have it, is we start out with pretty much 3 different factions, and at the end they come together,
which is so cool. I wish the other Fire Emblem games would do that, because it would flip around. You'd have this team of people, and it would they're all in different places in this war basically. And they all converge at the end.
And then when they come together at some point, you got to split off into 3 different teams, but you get to pick the team.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's just the Radiant Dawn story is so... I mean, it's Fire Emblem perfected. I mean, I think all the modern Fire Emblems are really good, but they can't be.
Obviously, this was in my top 10 until I remember Vesperia.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you had it here so we could talk about it.
Give it its due. It's number 6 for me. It's pretty high. It's pretty high for me. But
so good.
I have so many good memories from Radiant
You still have that, right? Somewhere?
I think I let Alex borrow it a million years ago.
No, because it's hard to get.
Yeah, I need to ask him.
Yeah.
It's lost.
It's fine. If that happened, one of us needs to buy Spool and just have it so we have it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have my Wii U to play it on. Yeah.
Port that game. Damn it. Port that to the Switch. That would be amazing.
Yeah, bring that and Path of Radiance, the prequel one, because this is a sequel to Path of Radiance, to the Switch, and me and you finally play Path of Radiance. That's even harder to get.
Yeah.
more expensive.
All right, what's your number 5, Jeffrey?
Number 5, Kingdom Hearts 2.
There it is.
Kingdom Hearts was coming. We all knew it. We all knew it. Obviously, I love this game. This is probably one of the games on this list that probably doesn't age as well, and I will fully admit that. But
it's favorite.
I just love everything. About everything about it. Just going to the Disney world and the mixing of the JRPG stuff from like Final Fantasy into the Disney world is so much fun. And Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably my favorite because the console one, so it's kind of the biggest from that way, and also the combat is at least my favorite from the series, especially when you get to the harder difficulties. That's just then kind of a very solid, good action game.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously I'm very excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. And let's see if this is one of those ones I can see being dethroned. Because I tried to make a mental note of trying not put too many from a series that are similar on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did that subconsciously, but I mean, I think this list is honest. So,
same thing with me. Obviously, I have multiple Zeldas and Mario because I think those different and stuff so much.
I mean, like, the gap between all these for me are very small.
Yeah,
like, it's a very small gap.
I'm pretty much saying I don't want to. If I was being honest, I would have like maybe 3 to 4 Smash Bros on the list.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Smash Brothers series 1 through 4.
Okay.
Right. My number 5, and another reason why The Last of Us being at 8 is gonna irk people, but number 5 is Uncharted 4 for me.
Okay.
Ever since it came out, I've always enjoyed Uncharted 4 more than Last of Us. Weirdly enough, maybe not weirdly enough, because this is a more enjoyable game.
They're two incredible games, and from a gameplay perspective,
and just similar to Horizon, actually, just how well that game plays is what draws me to it so much. Yeah. And also, I hadn't played any of the Uncharted's before, so I played the collection like a month before this came out. So I already had like these really intense and vivid memories of the first 3 games right before I played it.
That was probably a cool way to play those games.
It was really cool.
Like going one into the other, that would be probably the best way to play those.
There was a moment like maybe at the start of Uncharted 3 where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because I had played like 30 hours of Uncharted games. But man, Uncharted 4 is just so good. That's it.
It takes a lot of turns you're not expecting, which is weird.
Especially like the very first scene or whatever when he's underwater and then he comes back up and you realize that he's just in like an urban city or whatever.
Well, it's like, and how did they manage to, in the 4th installment in this, introduce this brother that no one knew about, and it works.
Everyone's okay with it.
And it's okay. It's like, it's actually, he's probably one of the best characters there, and you buy everything that's happening. And like that just screams like, oh, we're running out of ideas. He had a long lost brother.
I gotta ask.
It shouldn't have worked.
Is he not a great guy? Because he's voiced by Troy.
He's not a great guy. He's not a great guy.
I see the trends going.
He's probably a better guy than some of the other ones we've had.
Fine guy.
Yeah. But I mean, Booker ends up being an okay guy, kind of. But, he's not a great guy.
Okay, let's make sure the trend keeps on going.
Yep.
Yeah, the ending into that game is actually underrated, I think, as well. Because they
don't spoil things. I do want Jeff to play these games.
Oh, you haven't played it at all?
He hasn't played any Uncharted game.
Well,
I played like half of one.
Okay, well...
Don't completely spoil it.
No, it's just a lot different than what people were thinking or expecting, I think.
Yeah,
and it
very
works
big
really well.
subversion.
Yeah.
So he's not dead.
Is he?
No, they're all dead. They're all
the subversions that they all died. Bomb.
No one saw it coming. All right, my number 5... Knew it was coming at some point. Sly 2.
Oh.
I got to thinking the points confused. Okay, what are Darby's games left?
So your Splinter Cell.
Yes, basically. This is one of those games, like, I completely 100% admit that from an actual, like, how good is this game, Sly has no business being with the rest of these. It has no business being up there because, like, at the end of the day, it's a pretty typical PS2 platformer. But this is full nostalgia for me because Sly was one of the first series I ever got into, and just, I don't know, like, it's such an awesome creative series that just has a bunch of charm and heart. And I love Sly, Murray, and Bentley, and just all the... Again, like, that game has a lot of self-awareness as well, where it's, like, making fun of, like, James Bond, basically. I think that's probably part of, like, I grew up watching 007 games with my dad, and then this definitely makes fun of, like, spy movies and stuff. So that's probably partially why I, like...
Plus you get to play as the Murray.
The Murray, yeah. And Sly is still, like, the single, like, most like the series that if I'm like in a rough time in my life, that will be where I go for comfort, is to just play it because they're so easy. They're just like simple games to go through.
Sly 5, please.
Please.
Sly Collection. Do they have one?
They do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I have it on PS3. I wish it was on PS4, but and then like a different studio made Sly 4, and they left it on the cliffhanger, and then they're not making it. They're not doing anything else.
I always was really intrigued by those games, but I never played them. I always thought they looked good.
I honestly don't know what to tell you going into it for 2018
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have no clue what you'll think of them coming in not as a kid. So it's Sly is one of those like you kickstarted ukulele. If someone came out and we were doing a spiritual successor to Sly, I would be kickstarting.
Let's hope it turns out better.
Putting out money, and I would just have to hope. I would just have to hope. I would legitimately, if someone made like some spiritual successor to Sly, and they just wanted me to, in my free time, help out with the writing, I would do it. I would probably do it for free and just in my free time.
Darby, what if Sanzar did that? Kickstarter.
And they come to me and they're like, "Hey, Darby,"
or just do the Kickstarter in general for a spiritual successor to Sly.
I would pay. My money would be in that pot.
Why don't you create it? You create the successor.
Anyone listening to this podcast, if they want to, like, I know nothing about game development, and it'll probably end horribly.
You'll need to go to college again.
It'll probably end terribly, but I'll learn. I can learn.
Yeah. I'm a quick learner. It's on my resume.
I guess I can do PR for us. There you go.
Oh, man.
You just go demo it everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, gotcha.
My number 4.
4? 3?
4.
4. Okay.
The Last of Us.
Whoa.
There it is.
Yeah. I mean, we all know.
Wait, so what drew you to that game more than the Uncharted series?
I think part of it is at that point. This is something I'm probably going to mention at the end as far as like, mentioning the time periods for most of these games coming out in. Just the blind spots. The Uncharted games pretty much came out at a time where I wasn't really playing games, and like in the middle schoolers, high school things. So a lot of the PS3 era stuff I didn't really get to. I had to go back to.
Gotcha.
So I had this like thing. Last of Us, part of the reason I picked that over Uncharted because it was one game and it just come out and everyone was loving it.
And there was such a zeitgeist that our whole friend group couldn't stop talking about it.
And at least from the whole thing of that's supposed to like be an emotional journey, and Uncharted is more just action adventure thing, which is fine, of course. It's great at that, whole cinematic thing, but that Last of Us thing, especially at the time, just appealed to me more. Yeah.
I was actually, that's a good point, because I think maybe another reason why Last of Us is a little lower in my personal rankings is because I played it on PS4. So a year and a half after it came out or whatever, when I got my PS4. And I kept away from spoilers and stuff, but it was still so hyped up, and it lived up to the hype for the most part. Yeah. But there's still a certain point, there's a threshold.
I completely understand that. Like, we literally played it the week it came out. Like, I remember, I played it in 2 sittings. Like, I played it, like, I got it. I beat it in 2 sittings, and it's like a 12-hour game. So that's kind of sad.
Similar for me, like,
and I
3 sittings.
I did the same thing. Like, literally, it was like the next week or the week before or something was BioShock Infinite, and I also beat that in 2 sittings, and that's also like a 12-hour game.
Wasn't high school a great time?
Oh, God! Why did I not do more things with my life? We had so much time.
Yeah.
Why? Curse.
All right. What's your number 4? Right? We're at 4, right?
We were at 4.
4. Yeah, 4.
I don't know if y'all played the series. Portal 2.
Heck yeah. Love Portal.
Yeah? You played it as well? No. Okay.
In that time zone, I missed.
What can be said about Portal that hasn't been said? It's so...
I mean, it's just...
It's so smart.
I mean, like, it's honestly one of the few games that I could kind of feel comfortable saying is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know what you would do differently with Portal 2. Like, just gameplay-wise, pacing-wise, everything, like... because it's simple. It's more simple than the other games, so it's easier to be perfect. But it's legitimately, I think it's as close as you can get in games I've played to a perfect game.
I mean, it's such a simple gameplay loop, I guess.
Yeah. So
there's less problems to be had, but it's still a perfect game. Wheatley, Stephen Merchant as Wheatley,
so good,
so funny. GLaDOS.
And just the way it builds on itself. And it's like, Portal shouldn't be that. Like, the story ends up going in a direction you never expect it to. And this just started as, like, Valve's little, like, little Portal game, and it's just
Yeah.
and it's something that like anyone I could hand that to my mom and she would understand it, like understand what's going on. Like she might not be great at it, but she would understand. You shoot the blue portal, the orange portal, you go through there, and you end up there, and you solve the puzzle. Like I could give it to my grandma, and she could figure it out. I think that's a sign of amazing game design.
Yeah,
you know,
it's also one of only like 2 games maybe that have actually made me laugh out loud. It is such a funny game. The writing is so great. So.
Yeah. What was like to press A to say apple or whatever?
Yeah. And then there was like what's his name doing the lemons?
Oh yeah. God, that game's so good. Okay, my number 4. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's like the most recent game that I think any of us have said so far. Maybe, I don't remember.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I know that it was just last year, but honestly, that was one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life, and just the experience of even after a year of hype playing that game was incredible. I could not stop playing, like getting off the Great Plateau, just the experience, like anything you think you can do in the world, you can do. I don't know. Nintendo nailed it. We've said that so much
here, so I can join in. My number 3 is Breath of the Wild.
We're just like staggered right now.
So yeah, going down to that, I was worried like when you were you had your Switch about to play. It's like, I mean, I know everyone else thinks like, oh, we're not having this up too much.
Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a year of hype, and it still like was not even the slightest bit disappointing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this game so much. You know why we love Breath of the Wild. It's Breath of the Wild.
I need to play it. I need to get a Switch.
It's a masterpiece. You should.
Yeah.
Just take Alex's Switch. He doesn't use it.
Hey, Alex.
Has he ever really even used it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yikes.
But they're almost like diamond rank in Overwatch, which is like top 10%.
Yeah. For Alex and his girlfriend, they both got Switches on the same time. They've been playing Overwatch.
Still on that.
They haven't even played Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, they got 2 copies of that day one.
Wow.
Yeah.
You still play Overwatch?
I played with them every now and then. Like we just played yesterday with them, so I just pick it up every now and then.
Yeah. Were you ever into it, Jeff?
I've played. I literally only ever play with them. I've never really played on my
But
own.
it's fun.
We
definitely have a good time.
Absolutely, yeah, I enjoy it a lot. But
it's kind of one of those things. I think I'll probably from now, as long as I have friends who want to play it occasionally, I'll keep playing that for years to come.
Yeah,
but it's just
they text me with something and I'm not doing anything, so they want to play. I'm like, okay.
But I'm past the time where I'm gonna log in by myself and play. Like I used to do that, but like it's been long enough now where it's like I can just play every.
So many other games.
That's my Rainbow Six Siege game. It's just like only play with friends, but I play with friends a lot.
Yes, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right, number 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Oh,
Y'all aren't Assassin's Creed fans though, right?
I'm not. So there was 2 and then Brotherhood and then
so Assassin's Creed, then 2, and then Brotherhood.
I'm not
2.5 or
I'm not playing pause, but I think that's the one I played for like an hour, then returned it.
So Brotherhood is the one in Rome. I don't know if that rings a bell.
It's been so long. I just think it was Brotherhood. Okay. I know it wasn't a numbered entry, and that sounds right time wise.
Yeah, that was. So I get the game. Gosh, I don't know. I guess it was around. It must have been Christmas of the year it came out, and I just played it. I just remember like basically starting and finishing that game by the time school started back. So it's just like this month span of spending with this game. It was so good.
That was such an awesome feeling back then to do that. It's like such a fun way to play those.
Yeah, and I've always been a pretty huge fan of Assassin's Creed. I loved the first one when it came out, and I actually skipped 2 for whatever reason and jumped into Brotherhood. And Brotherhood, it's basically 2 but better in my opinion. Like people love 2 just because it introduced all these things.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brotherhood is essentially that, but in Rome, and you have other assassins that can help you out. So.
Are you a big history dude?
Yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed meeting.
Rome is a very cool setting for that. Yeah. So. All right. My number 3.
Wait, I just realized. I think I know what your top 3 are. I know now.
Let's figure it all out. What's my number 3?
I don't know the order, but I know the.
What do you think my number 3 is?
Last of Us?
No.
Witcher?
Yes. Okay. Witcher 3 is my.
That should have been an honorable mention, even though I've barely played it.
But you don't have to play much to realize how good it is. It's kind of weird because this is a game like I got in like 2015, like somewhere like not that long after it came out. It was sometime, or no, it was on Black Friday. You got it for me in Black Friday in 2015.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I paid him back,
No.
but he still picked it up. And I played it for like a while there. Like I got out of the tutorial area and did a few things, but I was like, this is good, but I have so many other things to play, and I put it down for like 6 months or something like that. And then I played a little bit more, and then I put it down for another. It was basically like a full calendar year later. I finally picked it back up again, and then it went from, oh yeah, okay, so whatever, to, oh my god, this is probably one of the best games I've ever played. Because it's like, once you get into The Witcher and you get immersed in that world, and when you're like wrapped in with it, it's amazing. And then as soon as you get wrapped in with it, it's like, oh, I have like 180 hours worth of time that I can spend.
And then there's DLC.
I still have like 40 hours of content I have not done in Witcher because of the DLC. It's just like every single thing about The Witcher, every single little side quest that in other games would be like tedious, like fetch quest, they make even the simplest fetch quest, they add some twist in it to make it interesting. And the fact that they were able to do that in a game that's like 180 hours, if you do all of those, it's insane. Like there should be fluff in that game, but there's not. Mm-hmm. Everything is polished. The characters and everywhere you go are amazing, and like all these little contained stories are just like I remember like the smallest little like monster quest, and you'll like finish that, and it'll like tie into this whole section of the game that you never would have saw. It's crazy. That game is like absurd. how much time and effort was put into that game, which gets me excited for Cyberpunk, because CD Projekt is probably one of the best developers in the game right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. CD Projekt and Rockstar, I think, are like on the same level just because they wait like 7 years to put out a game, and then it's incredible.
But when they do,
Yeah.
it's a sight to behold. So it's crazy. Like Witcher was not even on my radar before Witcher 3, and then now it's my third favorite game of all time. Crazy. Witcher's good. You need to play Witcher.
You would fall so deep.
You would like The Witcher.
That's a problem, though.
I know. I mean, I literally, my play count was 190 hours.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's a lot of time. I mean, that was over the course of a few years, but still. All right, what's your number 3, Jeff? Or number 2, Jeff?
Final Fantasy X.
There it is, yeah.
Darby knew it was coming.
Then do I know what your number 1 is? I'll think on it. You go.
Okay, so this is like, I don't know, but I don't know. Well, it was the first Final Fantasy I played, so it's one of those things like, or it may not have been my first, I don't know. But, your first Final Fantasy fair, blah, 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 blah. But I guess as far as I go, I haven't played some of the other ones people conceive are better, like 7, which I'm sure we'll hear about shortly. 9, 6, whatever. But, like, as far as, like, the whole turn-based JRPG thing, which obviously, the way on the list I love and all that kind of stuff, like, I tried thinking of games at least that I played that does it better than Final Fantasy X as far as the, each character having their roles. You have the whole grid system, which, could give you more choice potentially. It's kind of very linear once you've done it and know what exactly it is, but whatever. Yeah. It's fun, and it has something I wish more turn-based games did. And it's part of the reason I love Tokyo Mirage so much. It had like a little turn thing at the side where it told you the order of people. Yeah. And when you use speed-related stuff, how it changed and all that. Mm-hmm. And
the thing about 10 that I like from a gameplay perspective, I love that it took that like the 3-party turn-based thing that all the other Final Fantasy have or whatever, but you could sub people in. Yeah. And that was part of your strategy, was subbing people in and everything. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, this should be happening more often. This is a cool thing.
Yeah, and each enemy is having like their own kind of weakness, and you have to have a certain party member to really be strong against it.
Huh. Okay.
Like you can sub them in the middle of the battle, and that's the difference. Like Final Fantasy VII, I feel like there's entire characters that I didn't really get to know very well combat wise, because you choose your 3 and you go with your 3.
Yeah, with 10, you pretty much have to use everyone or you're screwed.
Well, I played Final Fantasy 15 for about 4 hours.
But as long as
that's my Final Fantasy
Played
experience.
for like 45 minutes. So
And again, I always think cast great. What all these JRPGs,
yeah.
it's a generic thing.
What did 10 come out on?
PS2 is an early PS2 game.
really good game.
Yes.
See, I went back and played Jeff's Final Fantasy. I'm waiting for him to go back and play mine. My big one.
I'm more likely to play
Which is
6 first.
7.
Maybe.
How'd you know? Alright, number 2 for me is Mass Effect 3.
Not Andromeda?
Not Andromeda.
What?
Which
I'm
is,
so shocked.
Wait, see?
which is why Mass Effect Andromeda was such a disappointment.
Now, I do want to hear this. Most people say 2.
Yes.
So, what is it about?
2's
3?
obviously his favorite, though. His favorite game ever, though.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 is number 1.
Oh, sorry. So sorry.
So almost like Uncharted 4, where it's like I like the culmination of the story.
Right.
So Mass Effect 2. So I picked up Mass Effect 2 just because I knew Mass Effect 3 was coming out, and I was like, well, this looks like I thought Mass Effect 3 looked really cool,
Looks
really
neat.
good. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. So I picked
The
up
kids
Mass
say
Effect 2
That's neat.
and played through that pretty quickly, and loved the characters and stuff, and was super stoked. But Mass Effect 3, aside from maybe some indie games, I've never had a AAA game have such indie games have such. I've never, let's see, gained such relationships to the people, to the characters in the story as much as Mass Effect. It is insane. I felt like I was actually Commander Shepard in a sense, because
Yeah.
I feel there are more and more games that allow you to have choice, but Mass Effect actually you define your relationship with everyone in the game, and people can die because of that, and I don't know.
And the fact those choices went over 3 games is crazy. That's even a thing that happened. They kept that going.
Oh yeah, that's part of what made it cool as well. It's like you could actually see your effects from game to game.
And, not to be understated, all the sex you can have. You can have sex with all your
Kidding
different crew members.
I got a girlfriend in this game.
But then could you also, isn't there like a robot that's what they could do? There's like this, I don't know, there was some
there's a robot.
that you could romance the robot. It's like,
it's like someone else, an NPC and an NPC can get together if you do the right things.
Okay.
I don't care about other people's sex life.
Yeah.
I don't care about my own.
Just mine.
Yeah.
Alright. My number 2, The Last of Us.
Okay.
Said enough about The Last, but I mean, that, again, it was one of those things where it's like that game was so hyped up for me and it still just lived up to everything. I did not see all the twists and turns coming with that. Joel and Ellie are probably the best video game characters out there, narratively speaking. I think I have trouble thinking of a relationship that hit me harder than they did, and that ending. And The Last of Us has the single best ending of any video game ever. It's just, if you have not played The Last of Us, you are messing up.
Hey, Darby. We're hearing about Last of Us 2 in 2 months. Confirmed.
So excited.
Does it have a better ending than
Yes. I don't even know what your number 1 is, but yes. All right.
No, it does have a great ending.
Jeff, what's your number 2?
Number 1, Darby.
Or number 1.
We're at number 1.
Sorry. Oh, this is it? This is it?
Now, this might be a little surprising. Do you know what it is, Darby?
Ukulele.
I'm really trying to, I thought...
It's going to be obvious once I say it, just when you think about it.
Kingdom Hearts 1.
No, because I think he likes 2 more.
That game is not aged well.
Yeah, 1 is not aged great. You already... I mean, you said Tearaway in honorable mention, right?
It's a Tales game.
It could. I mean, I don't think Tales of the Abyss would be up here for him, but I don't think so.
Xenoblade.
Xenosaga?
Oh, those are games I forgot.
Yes, my new number 1.
New number 1, push everyone back.
I don't know. Jeff, go ahead.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, what? Wait, duh.
I knew you would do that once I said.
Yeah, I never would have guessed it. I wouldn't have guessed that was number 1, but I should have guessed now that it hasn't been in any of these. I should have known that it would be there.
Number 1.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, wow. I had a lot of thinking about this.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Part of it's so I really picked the game that just came out late last year, but it's
I mean, it's what you feel, Jeff.
It's what I felt. It's just from a pure fun perspective, I just can't think of a
I mean,
better game.
that game is I'm gonna always remember that game. It's always gonna go down.
And
I guess the only reason, I think Odyssey is probably better than most of the games in my top 10 as far as it being a game. But it's just, I think mostly when I think back on Odyssey, I'm going to think about like the fun mechanics and everything. I guess it's just not going to hit me as much.
Yeah, I think that's partly because the big moments like everyone brings up, like I think those had more like emotional resonance to me than you, because I'm more of a Mario guy than you.
Right, exactly.
So those moments are things that put ahead, like I said, like just from a pure fun and mechanics perspective, I have trouble thinking of a better game for me than this.
No, that's awesome. That's exciting. I don't know why I didn't should have guessed
good. I know what yours is, Darby.
We all know what Darby's at this point.
Yeah, everyone, if anyone
yours.
listens to us, they already knew what mine was. But go ahead. I saw it on your phone, so
I didn't.
My number one is Red Dead Redemption, which is funny that y'all didn't know I even played that game. But,
Wait, Darby, did you mention Red Dead at all?
I did not.
Weird.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Darby?
It was a long time ago.
Honorable mention.
These are all very good games, man.
Oh no,
they're all very good. But I like Red Dead, but probably not.
Did you finish Red Dead? Actually, though.
I guess that would have.
I was like literally like going to the last mission, and then a bunch of stupid little kids deleted my save, and I was like, I am not going.
Do you know what happens?
Again. Yeah, I just watched that on YouTube.
That ending is great too.
That ending is great too. I saw it on your phone after we had that discussion. They're probably on par. Like The Last of Us and Red Dead are probably on par with endings.
It's a special ending for sure.
Oh, it's amazing. It's incredible.
Weird culmination, but yeah, I mean, I never actually played a Grand Theft Auto. Well, I had small experiences with the Grand Theft Auto. I never played a full one or anything like that. And I wasn't allowed to get this game at launch. My parents wouldn't let me. So after some goading,
I'm surprised it's that and not GTA. They're mad.
Well, I never played GTA either. So I never really. So I eventually was able to borrow it from a friend. They were okay with it, and then I actually bought it, and just went through it for a while. And like I said, I 100% of that game. I'm very proud of that. That's a big game.
That is a very big game.
Not Witcher level, of course. But there's a lot to do. And I never got tired of that world. I'm so extremely excited for the second one.
I am too. It's one of those like it should be on my honorable mentions in the well. And honestly, if I played it like now, it might usurp one of these. It's just been too long for me to.
It's just. But I think a big part of it too is just how cool it is that Rockstar, who usually makes these great but dumb GTA games, makes this like actual really good narrative experience. With
and
this
John
cowboy.
Marston is also one of the best video game characters of all time.
Agreed.
Like, All right. To the surprise of no one in the world, if you know me at all, Final Fantasy VII is my number one game of all time. This has not changed since I was a little kid. It's a lot of nostalgia, but like this game was just such an insane experience that I put so much time. I've beat it twice now, and it was like 200 hours each time. God, that's depressing.
Holy cow.
I don't think it was 200 hours the second time, but it's like the timer, the PS1 like timer thing stops at 100, and that happens like so early on. Like, you lose it. But I don't know, like that cast of characters you just fall in love with. The single best thing is the music is incredible. It's some of the best music ever. I
study to it, and I've never even played the game.
Oh, I study to it all the time, yeah. And it just like, I don't know, like being a little kid playing those, just all the moments hit you. I mean, when you're older, you realize it's kind of cheesy, but when you're a kid, Aerith dying, all that stuff.
Spoilers, dude.
Hide your ears.
I was gonna play the remake in a couple of years.
I swear. What if they change that?
I was about to say, even if you know like nothing about Final Fantasy VII, if you didn't know that she died, then I don't know what to do. I don't know what.
It's the video game version of Bruce Wayne's parents died.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with a Final Fantasy VII remake trailer that just shows her death. They're like, you know.
Show how good this looks. Look at the blood.
Just brutal, like her inside start falling out.
Then fans like, yeah.
I don't know. Game's always gonna be.
Are you gonna play 200 hours of the remake?
I mean, if there's 200 hours to play, I
I
doubt
guess it'll
there,
be episodic.
there probably won't be because it's not going to be like the same. It's going to be something different. It's going to be like an action
Streamlined.
game. Yeah,
Maybe.
I imagine it's going to be a lot.
Who knows how that will go?
Maybe all 3 parts of it together might add up to be 200
Mm.
because apparently it's going to be broken up into like 3 different
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to play this game again. Like this is going to be a game I'm going to play every few years until I die, probably, because it's just so good. And it's one of those like not everyone's going to like it as much as I do, but I do stand by. I think you're going to like this game whenever you do finally play it.
I know. I know.
I mean, like it's just like it's legitimately.
It's like The
a
Witcher.
really
It's just
good
so
game.
long.
I know. It's so hard. It's so hard when you're not a high schooler
Yeah.
to play these things.
I know I have my PS3. Obviously, I'll just get on my PS4. Put it on Switch.
All right, and thus ends the longest podcast I think we've ever done in our
No
lives.
way.
2 hours 13 minutes. I had a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
I knew it was
50th.
It's the 50th
Extravaganza.
one. Whatever.
I was
It's
happy. Like the
screw
news
it.
thing ended a little over an hour. Oh yeah, I have an announcement to
Oh.
kind of relate to this.
Mute.
Or announcement something I want to try to do. Okay, so
I'm so sorry about the camera, everyone. Just continue on.
okay, so yeah, I briefly mentioned before. If you've really analyzed my list, you noticed like Super Mario 64 is like the earliest game on my list
Yeah.
because
It's
that
in
was
my
when I was a
honorable
kid.
mention.
Yeah, it was when I was a kid. That's when I really started playing games. Or I was able to pay attention and pick games of my own and stuff. So I missed a lot of the early games. I have an SNES Classic, so I have decided making this list. I'm just gonna go through it. My SNES. I'm gonna make that something I try to do,
Okay.
and
Yeah, that'd
maybe
be-
make it a
I'll
segment
watch
that's
that
like
as
Jeff Goes Retro or something, or do something like that.
Whoa,
Go
we should do
go
that.
through it
We should
That'd
do
be
like
cool.
because
we
there
should
are
do
a
like
lot of all-time greats on that thing. I know.
We should do like a separate video thing for each one of them,
Yes.
where I'm just talking to you or something, and
We should do it. I've looked at went through the how long to beat for like all the
it
games.
has an HDMI, right?
It does.
So we can capture.
We
stuff.
could capture
We
stuff.
can capture stuff.
I decided I want to do that because that could influence my list greatly.
Work
if I
with
did
me
that.
on it and like figure out what you would want, like for the. I know we're just like brainstorming this on air or whatever. If someone's this long into this podcast, I don't think they care. Just like tell me what you want from it. Like work with me on it,
Yeah.
and like I can try to like have like you in one corner and like the video doing something else.
Okay.
Doing whatever. We should do that.
Let's do it.
Do that.
There's a lot of like I said, a lot of all-time greats on there. Like a lot of people's favorites.
One of us needs to have played Final Fantasy VI. It's kind of
Yes.
embarrassing.
Yes. And that could like I said, greatly change my list potentially depending how those games go.
Yeah, there's a lot of these like Super Mario 64, obviously, and Ocarina of Time. I love those games, but it's like I played those games so long ago, and I was so young when I played it. It's like they don't completely have the nostalgia factor that like Sly and some of these and Final Fantasy 7 that I played when I was a little bit older. It's just like I was more like I remember those more, and I was like knew what I was doing more. Like Super Mario 64, like, that was so long.
I
ago.
think what helps for me for those games in Ocarina of Time is I'm 2 years older than you. That doesn't mean much now, but at that time,
It did,
that meant a lot.
Yep, that's why you were more. I mean, and because all these games I played at your house, I never had a 64.
Yeah.
So
And I replayed like Majora's Mask Ocarina of Time on 3DS.
Y'all were lucky. Y'all had a 64 out of Sega Saturn.
pour one out.
I think
had
Sega announced a Saturn Mini last night.
Why?
Did they really?
Or it might have been announced. I don't know. They announced something.
Sega has like a lot of them mini thing.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for a long
That's
time.
weird.
I had a Genesis. And
Yeah.
played lots of Sonic,
But
and in that
the
Lion
thing they
King
announced
game.
has Shining Force on it. That's a great game.
Okay. All right. Thank you for listening to the episode 50 Spectacular Nerds of Large Gaming Podcast.
Ah!
Yeah, we did everything.
We did
Is that our
everything.
surrender flag?
Yeah,
We surrender.
we surrender.
This is the end.
Yeah, it's the end. It's been a good run.
Yep. We made the 50. That's all we
We
wanted.
made it. Woo! Thank you so much.
Bye.